There's a famous scene in The Lord of the Rings when the wizard Gandalf yells, "You shall not pass," at a big fiery demon. And the line was so iconic that you don't even have to have seen the movie to have heard it referenced culturally. It's an incredible pronouncement, "You shall not pass." It's incredible for its simplicity and its certainty. The statement has real power, whether or not Gandalf can back it up. Philosophers J.L. Austin and John Searle came to believe in the earlier part of this century that sometimes the things we say aren't just words. They can actually perform something or do something, make something happen. Consider when a judge says, "I hereby sentence you to 5 years." That statement alone has the power to change your life. Or when someone at a board meeting says that they're going to make a motion, or when you make a vow, or when a minister says, "I now pronounce you married." Just the act of saying some words can bring a whole new state into being. Now, Austin and Searle's speech act theory, as it came to be known, was eventually expanded to include nearly everything we say. Almost anything we say can be a kind of action. And using that lens, there are many kinds: commands, requests, attempts to convince, threats, confirmations, greetings, inquiries. In normal life, none of us are ever just saying things. We're doing things by speaking. Speech act theory confirms what sci-fi novels and fantasy stories and fairy tales have been trying to tell us all along, that the right combination of magic words can make something happen. And if you get it wrong, either your magic spell won't work or bad things can happen. And this is how rituals work too. Worship is never just a bunch of words. In every good worship service, there are actions to be accomplished. It might not always seem like there's an agenda, but there is an implicit agenda. We welcome one another. That's an action performed by words. We invoke the holy, whatever it may be. We sanctify this hour by lighting the chalice, but also saying our lighting words. Now, there's a reason that those things happen earlier in the service rather than later. Imagine the chaos of leaving the church just as the chalice is lit. It wouldn't feel right. And this is why the sermon often comes after some inspirational reading or poetry that causes us to reflect or to become pensive. It signals a shift toward a more contemplative part of our experience. Even in the most creative, avant-garde, free-form worship, the same things get accomplished, no matter what it looks like. There's some kind of welcoming. There's some kind of recognition that we've entered a sacred space, that we've left the space of normal life for a time. There's an invocation of something higher or particularly revealed, or treasured or sought after. There's some kind of a statement or testament about what matters. Now, the elements themselves, how these things get accomplished, they may change, but at the heart, the ritual patterns of worship remain, and we can recognize them anywhere on earth. The transitions between those elements, however those things get accomplished, are arguably just as important, so we don't wind up feeling that whiplash of emotional dissonance. You come into worship submitting yourself to an experience through which you'll hopefully be guided without too much trouble or surprise, maybe just enough surprise, but not so much dissonance. And in this church, it's often the music that guides us from one part of the experience to the next, taking us from mourning into presence, from meditation into engagement. When the choir sings, it's not just a performance of voices for the fun of it, although it is super enjoyable. They are doing something. They're accomplishing something, announcing that you shall in fact pass through this morning and into a brightened world. So too, do all the elements of worship. If it's done right, mindfully, worshipfully, worthy.